the still comp that we did. We have the iPod, whatever that thing was. We have the hologram, we have the green screen, and we have that Warwick Castle. So these are just placeholders here. The only one that's a still was our first one, which was a still comp. Everything else was a video. So what you do to make your demo reel is you drag these into After Effects. Yes. And then you can click on these in the order that you created them. So I'm just going to click on still comp, hold the control key, go to iPad, hold the control key, hologram, Warwick Castle, then green screen. And then I drag it to the new comp button. This will say what size do you want your stuff. Obviously everything was a different size, so we'll adjust this afterwards. So this part really doesn't matter so much. I'm going to turn sequence layers on. I'm going to turn overlap off if it's on. My still duration is 2 seconds, and I hit OK. So these are just other names for other classes. So what I'm going to do is go to my composition, go to my comp settings, and I'm going to make sure that this is set to 960 by 540. So I may have to uncheck that box, but that's the resolution we want these demo reels played out at, 960 by 540. Some of our footage may have been huge or smaller, whatever. That's the size we want to render our stuff at. Everything else should be fine. The duration should be fine. Even our frames per second should be fine. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go through each one of these pieces and just scale it down until it fits. Now if there's a wonky resolution, like one's 1920 by 1080, that should fit perfectly in there. If one was 4000 by 2000, that one's not going to fit perfectly in there. So we'd need to scale it just so it fits in there perfectly. So let me just move this up. And I would just scale it until I saw the entire thing. Okay? Now I would go to the next one, and I would scale that one down. And then I would go to the next one, click on the picture, scale it down. So I would scale down each one of these to make sure that they fit perfectly inside of this image. Okay? There's also a button under here under layer that you could do, transform, and it says fit to comp width or fit to comp height or just fit to comp, and that's another way you could do that. Just make sure it doesn't stretch it out, and make sure you don't cut your stuff off. People usually lose points because they don't include stuff, or they cut their stuff off, or they have a bunch of black space on it. So if you made your movie like your iPad and for some reason you have 5 seconds of black space at the end, find where that black space is, let's say right here, and cut it off. And then adjust all of your other comps accordingly. Okay, so I adjusted the comp layering and I pulled my work area in, so that should be good.
Are you holding a button to make it snap like that?
Shift.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then you're going to export it as a movie. So we export it as a render queue. We click on lossless. We go to QuickTime. We go to format options. Make sure it's set to H.264. Again, another reason you lose points is because you don't use the right compressor. If your file ends up being like 2 gigs, which I've had, that's obviously not right. Click on the name, and you're going to name it something very specific. Next thing. Okay, so you're naming it your last name, DemoReel 2560 W16. That way I know whose it is, I know what it is, I know the class it's for, and I know the semester. If you have multiple classes with me and you want to bunch your demo reels together, no problem. Just make sure you put 2560, 2520 in that same name, so I know it's for both of those. So if I'm searching for it, I can find 2560 or 2520. Hit save, hit render, and then you're just going to turn that in to our 2560 demo reel folder. Okay, so that's where that is going to be. I'm going to put mine in there just so you can see the example that I have. Where did I throw that? There it is. See how easy it is to find it when you just know the name of it. All right, so that will be the demo reel. So Monday, demo reel will be turned in along with your projects. Remember, I just need the videos and then a snapshot of your node graph stuff, okay? The other part that's going to be due is you're going beyond. So if you went beyond any of the assignments, you added sound effects, or you know, I had a very kind of loose structure in some of these, so you may have gone really far in what you did. Instead of just adding like the a couple screenshots of something for the iPad, maybe you develop something that you built from scratch, where you built the entire, like Adam built this entire conversation inside there. So just like a text document or a Word document or something, just listing all the stuff that you've done beyond. And that could also mean that, I wasn't familiar with Photoshop enough when we got to the Warwick Castle. So you went through and you played around with some Photoshop tutorials and started playing around with some extra stuff. It could be you worked on, you read a bunch of information about Nuke, or you watched a bunch of videos on Nuke, or you did whatever. Outside of this class, what stuff have you done to improve what you're doing inside the class? That's what that means. Okay? So Monday, that will be due also. Any questions on the stuff that's due? No. Okay. Wednesday when we come in, we're looking at all the demo reels. So then you'll be able to see what people have created. I'll show stuff from this class and stuff from the other class too, just so you get an idea of what other people are doing. And some of the stuff that people have created in some of the other classes is pretty amazing as well. Okay? Any questions? All right.